Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Jean.
And I'm Mike. And today we are doing the crossword for Thursday, September 26th, 2024. So, did you do the crossword?
I did do the crossword.
And was it a gratifying experience?
It was sort of a surprising experience.
Oh.
Because I eventually figured out the theme and started rearranging letters, and then boom, all of a sudden, I solved it. And I didn't even know how I did it exactly, but
Talent?
it worked.
Let's not rule out talent.
It worked.
Good.
So the theme was a unique one, very innovative one for sure. I don't know that I've ever seen one quite like that, but anyway, it kind of was getting the better of me. But I don't know. I just sort of manipulated a few things here or there, and boom, I had it solved.
Well, very good.
So I surprised myself that I had it solved. So, but the theme was, like I said, very unique. It all revolved around the two revealer clues, which were the last two across clues in the puzzle, and the clues there were with the two words together: tricky football play, as represented by this puzzle's shaded squares. And there were 5 different across answers where there were 2 sets of shaded squares in each of the answers. Some of them were just like 2 pairs of 2 letters, but some of them were two shaded squares, and then a little later in the answer, 3 shaded squares. But anyway, the answer to the revealer was a double reverse, a tricky football play, double reverse, and that's actually exactly what you had to do in order to solve the puzzle. For example, one across was the clue was wonder drug, and the answer, what you thought was the right answer, was cure-all. C-U-R-E-A-L-L, cure-all. However, that didn't really work with the down clues. So the U and the R in cure were shaded, and the A-L-L in all were shaded. And so you had to do a double reverse, as the theme clue or the revealer clue said, and you had to switch the letters in each pair. So instead of C-U-R, it became C-R-U, and instead of A-L-L, it became L-L-A, and it turned cure-all into a completely new word, which was Cruella. And once you did that, then if you looked at the down answers, they made sense. Otherwise, they didn't. So you had to switch. You had to answer the clue. Then within the shaded squares, you had to switch them, and then it would work. You got a completely new word that really didn't answer the clue, but it did make sense then with the down clues.
Right.
So the second one was the second clue in the puzzle, 8 across, have the final turn. And the answer was go last, which makes sense. But the O and the L were shaded, and the S and the T in last were shaded. So you had to do a double reverse. So you switched the O and the L, and you switched the S and the T, and instead of go last, you had the word gloats. So, it was a real word, gloats, and then when you looked at the down answers, they made sense. So that was the theme. And the only one, I figured out all of them except the last one, and that's where I was like, I can't believe I got this right, but the last one was 39 across, rescues. And I had almost all the letters, and it looked like Las Vegas. So I just put in Las Vegas, and boom, the puzzle solved. So I'm not really sure. It was the LAS were
became Sal,
and the EGA in Vegas were shaded.
Right.
So what was the real answer to the clue for 39 across? Rescues.
Salvages.
Oh, yeah. So you switched the S with the AL. So instead of SAL, you got LAS. That would give you the
Yeah,
loss.
it's the reverse, right?
Yeah. And instead of the
EGA, it's AGE.
AGE, you got GEA. So
No,
that
you got
made the Las Vegas salvages. Okay, yeah.
you got AGE, yes.
Now I see it. When I was working on it, I just had so many of the letters. I'm like, well, that looks like Las Vegas, so I'm just going to put that in, and yeah, it solved the puzzle. But I never really figured out what the actual answer to the clue was.
Yep, rescues
salvages became Las Vegas.
Yes.
The funniest one I thought was 35 across, which was 3-time nominee for Best Director, 94, 09, and 2019. And the answer, of course, was Tarantino, which is Quentin Tarantino. But you had 2 sets of shaded squares, the second A and the N, and then the last 2, the N and the O. And if you switch them, it becomes the word tarnation, like sort of a expletive, tarnation. Like, so I thought that one was very funny.
Right.
So anyway, that was the theme.
Yep.
Very, very ingenious, really. But I was able to crack it and get it done.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I was able to get it done, but I got muddled halfway through. When I was looking at 20 down, advanced HS course taught by a professoria, say, and I thought, okay, it's going to be AP something, and I had enough letters that I started thinking maybe it was going to be AP Latin, but that wouldn't fit, and I had AP Italian, but there were 2 gray squares going down, and I thought I was supposed to switch them, and so I couldn't figure out what AP Italian meant.
Oh.
And I was sort of in a mental fog at that point.
Yeah.
And so eventually I put down AP Italian because I thought, well, that's got to be the right answer.
Right.
But I couldn't get it to solve. I was looking all over the place. And of course, my downfall, as usual, was something Spanish. 12 down, dish with a crispy tortilla shell, tostada.
Tostada.
Not
yes.
tostera.
Right.
Which gave me for 25 across, something found near a trap. Now, I assumed at first that was a T, T-E-E, because they were talking about a trap, like a sand trap in golf.
Right.
Not sure why you'd have a T near the sand trap. But anyways, at the time, it seemed like a good idea. So I had T, couldn't get that to work. And with the crosses, I ended up with it being the word let, which I wasn't really, I was just sort of scanning for words that didn't make any sense, forgot about the fact that I had let, and eventually realized that something found near a trap was a lat, because they were talking about the trapezoids and the lat, whatever the lats are, the latitoids, that can't be right. Let's see, the trapezoids and some other muscle group.
Oh.
Probably one that I'm sure I've injured at some point or other at Planet Fitness.
I really didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, it was referring to a muscle group.
Oh, okay.
But
where are your lats?
I just know them as lats. I don't know what the actual proper name of them is. It can't be the latitudes.
Latorals? Like
maybe.
pectorals?
Well, you've got the deltoids, so maybe you have the latoids. That doesn't sound right. Anyway, there was some muscle group, and so I eventually found that, but I hate having to just spend so much time going through the crossword, trying to find my mistake. It's sort of like...
and it's tough when you don't know the language that the mistake is in. So,
right.
Yeah.
It's sort of like one of those situations where it's like... sort of like a bit of a murder mystery where I am both the murderer and the detective. First I kill the person off, and then I try and find who did it. It was me all along. I should have known. So But anyway, that it probably took me about 20 minutes to do the crosswords and 30 minutes to find the missing A. Because again, I was trying to figure out what am I supposed to do with these letters that are switching. It should have been Itlayan. It's like, what sort of a language is Itlayan?
So did you figure out what was going on right away, or did you have to go through the whole puzzle
No,
to get to the revealer, the double reverse?
I actually figured that out fairly quickly, and I was just enjoying reversing letters so much that I decided to do it with the AL. But of course, that makes no sense. In AP Italian, there's only one group of gray squares, the A and the L.
Yes,
There aren't two,
right?
And so it was just
with the cross clues,
right.
It's just that two of them actually did land in a down clue as well,
right. Yeah. But this slowed me down for a number of reasons. First of all, just starting with one across, the wonder drug. Well, I thought. No. It has to be Tylenol.
I put aspirin.
And then I thought Tylenol. I thought aspirin. I was going to try and get penicillin to fit, but it was just cure-all. And it's just like I was hoping for something more of a brand name. Mm-hmm. I did like that 2 down film that lasts a while was Residue.
Right.
That was good.
That's right. Yes.
And I started thinking about whether or not. I don't know if this is true or not, but I was thinking that the clues at the top of the puzzle are harder and more interesting than the ones at the bottom.
Well, I'm starting to think that as well, because especially as you get later in the week, it seems like I'm always able to get the bottom half of the puzzle long before I get the top half.
Right.
So
I don't know if it's deliberate. I don't know if it's because the constructors start off strong and then start to tire. Just like the solvers sometimes tire. By the time they've gotten to the bottom, it's just like, let's just throw in anything. Let's just be as literal as we can.
Let's see, Oreo, Alda.
That's right.
Get all your old familiar clues.
I mean, if we look like you think about wonder drug, cure all. That was sort of tricky, and then even 1 down, kooks. Was crazies.
Yes.
That took me a bit. And certainly Residue is interesting. What else is interesting around there? We have the
three down. Sudden riser in status. Upstart.
Yes.
And upstart.
And we had 5 down. The longtime college basketball coach
Lawn.
Kruger was lawn. By the way, I did like the fact that we had lat and lawn in this. But you work towards the bottom of the grid, and then we've got, let's see, 59 down was loo. The answer was lav, as in lavatory.
Right.
And let's see, transportation app banned in Denmark, Hungary, and Thailand was Uber. So that probably wasn't too obvious, but I don't know. It just sort of feels easier at the bottom.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would agree.
I wonder if this is a deliberate strategy endorsed and sort of propagated by Joel Fagliano.
I doubt it.
Joel, if you're listening, let us in on the secret. Do you tell him to make it easier at the bottom? Think about this crossword. It was by Jesse Guzman, and that name looked very familiar. And I was getting ready to announce we've seen him before, but we have not.
Oh,
actually,
really?
I don't know if it's a Jesse. Is that a man's name, woman's name?
Could be either.
Okay. In any event, and they don't have a picture. So someone named Jesse Guzman, I was convinced this was not a debut, but in fact it was a debut.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive for a debut.
It was good.
Yes.
There was one that I found, one clue that I was sort of unimpressed with, and it isn't the fault of the editor or the fault of the constructor, but it was 8 down, and the answer was it said this letter, and it's supposed to be gamma, but it looked to me like just the letter Y that it had taken some steroids.
Oh.
And I thought, that's not what a gamma looks like. A gamma sort of has a little loop at the bottom. And in the New York Times, let's see here, 8 down, it was, I don't know, that just looks like And listeners, in case you're wondering, I'm zooming in mightily on
he's
the.
pointing.
I'm pointing and zooming in mightily, none of which are going to help. But if you look at how 8 down is typeset, this letter, that's a Y. That is not a gamma.
Oh, really?
That's right. If we have any listeners who speak Greek, could you back me up on this? 8 down. Is that a gamma or is that a Y? We probably have some mathematicians who are listening.
Well, I'm looking at gammas on the internet,
and
here.
they've got a bit of a They've got a bit of a twist
They
to them.
do have a little bit of a twist. However, it is totally filled in, and maybe that was just the best they could do.
I think it's
with the typesetting they used.
You see, because it was 5 letters down, so I wrote down tall Y, and which actually, when you think about it, is also the word tally. But anyway, so I had tall Y for about a nanosecond, and then pulled it out.
Yeah,
But
and the first kind of arm that goes to the left.
Gene is gesticulating to the left.
Yeah, has a little curve on it, whereas this one does not.
Right.
I think they just tried to do that in the same font that the rest of the clues are in, and it is just like a Y that's been sort of lowered a bit.
Well, either that, or we'll probably get a nasty note from Joel Fagliano, at least we hope, saying, haven't you ever heard of capital Greek letters? So
You think that's a capital gamma? No, a capital gamma looks like an upside down L.
Oh, you're right. So almost like sort of like a whatever they call those places where they hang people.
Yeah, hangman.
Hangman.
It looks like the hangman's, where they hang the noose.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. But no, or an upside down L.
Or an upside down L. I think that's a
Capital L.
much nicer way of referring to it.
Definitely.
Let's see. What else did we have? 22 across was a gimme for me. Finally, civil rights leader blank B. Wells. I thought Ida.
Yep.
Didn't need any crosses. I knew Ida.
Very good. Very good.
For 49 across, we had palindromic family nickname. I had the A in the middle. I thought it's Dad.
Oh.
But it turned out to be Nan.
Right.
I guess Dad wouldn't really be a nickname.
No, I think most people use Dad as an actual name.
Now, we actually also had sort of related vaguely, 54 down, Parisian patriarch. And I thought it was going to be Papa, but it was Père.
Yeah.
And one other one that I thought was worth noting, Hoda of morning TV, Cotby.
Cope.
What?
I think it's just, I don't think the T is sound. I think they just call her Hoda Cope.
Cobe?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, she just retired. She just announced her retirement.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now the New York Times is going to have to refer to former, no, Hoda of former, no, that doesn't make sense. Former Hoda of morning TV. Mm-hmm. No, that sounds like she's
Hoda, formerly of morning TV.
Yes, formerly seen on morning TV. My guess is next week she'll start showing up on afternoon TV. She got tired of getting up at 3 a.m.
Perhaps, yes.
So, all right. Well, this has been a grand crossword. Again, a debut by Jesse Guzman.
Nice job, Jesse.
Well done, Jesse. And that is it for today. Remember, our Triplet Tuesday contest is still going strong. Yep. You still have a chance to enter till Sunday at 11:59:59 at whatever your local time happens to be. That would be 11:59:59 p.m. I hasten to point out. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. See all of you again tomorrow.
Bye-bye.